We were beginning to discuss sequence diagram. So sequence diagram, as I told, that it depends on use cases. So the number of use cases or the number of functional requirements, you have to map your sequence diagram as per that. We discuss what will be the start state. The start state will be like check email. It will be a period sign which indicated by an arrow, and these boxes will indicate either objects or classes. This bar is known as lifeline. So we had object and classes. So the representation of boxes is basically if you have to be include objects and classes. So if you have to go from one object to another object, or one class to another class, or from one box to another box, so you have to pass a message. So message is basically a function and the arguments. So like if you are going from patient to hospital, if you are registering patient or admitting patient, so the function will be called admit, and it will be provided with patient ID and room type. So type of arrow. So there are basically multiple types of arrows. The type of arrow is if the arrow is filled, it will be a synchronous message. If the type of arrow is uh, it is a solid line, but it's only one arrow, so that will be asynchronous message, and the dotted reply, it is basically return message from the server. So a synchronous messages are those messages in which when one object sends a message, it waits for the processing or the reply of the other object and then start other execution. While in asynchronous, these are independent, so an object can send multiple asynchronous messages, and without waiting, it can do other options as well. So synchronous messages are those where your object, if it sends the asynchronous message, it will synchronous message, so it will wait for the reply. It won't start other execution, or it won't start other objects. And if there is asynchronous message, in asynchronous message, the system doesn't have to wait. It can have multiple interactions, or it can send multiple messages to other without waiting for the reply. And the return message is basically indicated with the help of dashed arrow. Activation means, for example, this thick box or object lifeline draw when the object method is on the stack. Either the object is running its code, or it is on the stack waiting for another object's method to finish. So this bar that you are seeing, so this means this method or this object is currently activated. So this object is currently on, or it is activated, or the connection is established. Nested activation indicates that if you see here, it means that this object is calling itself. So if in case of recursion, so you can have or the lifeline can have a mini lifeline as well, where it is where this interaction shows recursion. So lifetime of object creation is indicated with the arrow with the new written above it. So for example, if you have a query database, you have a handler. New means there's a new object of handler, a handler class, new object, which is indicated, or which is also a subset of query. Object deletion means when you put a cross on the line, so it means this object or this stack is the lifeline of this query object is finished here. So this cross indicate it is ending the object, and this new means the object is created for different interactions or further execution. So if we have multiple choice, if we have, for example, if condition, or if we have if else, or if we have a loop, so we can also indicate that in sequence diagram. For example, if we have dispatch, we have three classes: order, distributor, and we have order and careful object and regular object. So for example, dispatch, so it is basically a loop, means for all the dispatches, this condition or this thing will be repeated. For example, if we have 100 dispatch orders, so everything will be all the this loop will be executed 100 times for those 100 orders. So we have a alternate here. Alternate means there are two choices. If the value is greater than 1000, then you have to do dispatch but with careful object. And if you have less than 1000, so it if you have for example 0 to 1 to 1000, you have to dispatch to regular. So this is basically a simple scenario where if your orders are greater than 1000, so you have to choose a careful distributor, or you have to be careful with the packing. And if it is less than 1000, so that is a regular delivery. So this loop indicate for each order you will be executing same thing again and again. And alternate means you have two choices. So if the value is greater than alternate, and this is the condition of alternate. So if the value is greater than 1000, so it means you can dispatch to careful distributor, and otherwise it means you can dispatch to regular distributor. So if your sequence diagram is long and it is not coming on one page, so there are two things that you can do: an unfinished arrow and comment, a reference frame that names the other diagram. So this is basically the first one, where you have an unfinished arrow, and this indicates the flow is continued in diagram 2. So this is indicating, this comment is showing that the next sequence diagram or sequence diagram 2 will be continued here. Or if you see here, you are giving a reference framework. This is the reference frame, which indicates that verify customer credit can be the next sequence diagram here, or that is here. So if your sequence diagram is large, or if it is big to fit on one page, you can do two things. One, you can use an unfinished arrow and you can write comment in front of them, and you can show where the continued diagram is. Next, you can also put a reference framework, and which contains the names of the other diagram. So this is a simple sequence diagram. For example, if we have storefront, cart, inventory. So loop means if we are adding item, the item is being reserved, the inventory is replying, the cart is being response. So this is whenever I am adding an item, so this is the flow. So when I have added all the items, when I press checkout, the cart process order, it again comes to cart, it calls the same object and it confirms the order. If the order is being confirmed, and then the order items are being placed, and you can for example here we can have the order item being delivered, or some kind of response we can generate from the system as well. So this is basically a system, a simple sequence diagram of uh, whenever you have an item where you can use checkout or simple checkout process sequence diagram. So there is multiple flow or multiple system control as well. One is centralized and one is distributed. Centralized means basically all the information is being processed by one object. So if you see here, this is basically, you can say centralized, because all the communication is being done by by object one. And here if you see, object one can communicate with object 2 communicates with object 3 communicates with 4, and 4 communicates with 5. So this option is basically distributed, and this object 1 is basically centralized.